Midwest residents have certainly noticed higher prices when they gas up. There's been a 20-cent per liter increase in the past 2 months. But considering that Libya only accounts for between 1 and 2% of global production, that loss of supply shouldn't be driving oil prices so high.
Now, if you lost Saudi Arabia, the entire Persian Gulf, yeah. Would there be a shortage in product? Yes, there would be. Would there be a spike in price? Yes. But you'd have to lose all of that production in order to make an impact because there's excess supplies everywhere.
The current wave of pro-democracy movements throughout that part of the world is what has investors on edge.
What's driving up the price of oil is fear. Because the Middle East and Northern Africa produces about 30% of the world's production of oil, if these changes were to spread throughout the region, that's what is making people nervous.
Companies like airlines that depend on oil try to lock in contracts to prevent getting burned if the price continues to soar, but this in turn helps to increase prices. And the increase won't just be at the pump, but will have ripple effects through the global economy to the point where people are spending too high a percentage of their income on fuel.
And they don't have enough money to buy other stuff. So unless we burst this commodity bubble at some point, it will burst on its own when the consumer runs out of cash, and I don't think that's in anyone's interest.
And there's a nasty downside to having the cost of consumer goods rise in this artificially inflated fashion.
So once prices go up for consumer goods, whether it's through transportation costs or for raw materials, if the oil price were to drop, those prices will not come down as fast as the oil price, if at all.
High gas prices have been proven in the past to have only a small effect on rates of consumption. But even in Western countries like Canada, there's a breaking point, and it starts affecting lower and middle-income families first.
But there is a point where people start to cut back, and it's because they can't afford, they have to choose between filling up their car and paying the rent.
But when it comes to the sheer amount of money pouring into oil commodity futures, COTA is convinced that the price cannot continue to rise, and once it crashes, it could be worse than what we saw in 2008, when oil went from over $140 to $38 a barrel almost overnight.
You're going to get overcorrections. So you'll get an overshoot on the way up, you'll get an overshoot on the way down, and just hold on to your pants as we go through this wild ride.
Jacob Zaire, Newcap News.